We are living through a global shift in consciousness. You don't have to be spiritual to feel it. It shows up everywhere. The world is breaking open. Old systems are failing. People are exhausted by the way things have been. What we are experiencing is an energetic rebalancing of human consciousness itself. More and more people are craving a shift away from the dominance of control, logic, extraction, and endless growth towards something more whole, embodied, and connected to life. That shift is the rise of the feminine. For thousands of years, humanity has run mostly on one frequency, the masculine principle: order, structure, competition, analysis, hierarchy. Don't get me wrong, these qualities are not wrong, as they are vital to existence, but without the feminine, they become distorted. They turn into systems that value productivity over people, control over care, and domination over balance. That distortion is why the earth is depleted. The most dangerous truth that the world has tried to banish is the one that can't actually be forgotten, because it lives inside each and every one of us. This is the truth of divine feminine power. Inner gnosis, the source of creation that can't be put in a box nor confined to any kind of structured reality that exists in the mind. This truth is particularly dangerous because it doesn't fit into the construction of a world outside of the natural realm. And over millennia, this truth has been targeted in various ways to desecrate the divine feminine energy and create a world of control and power, and hierarchies, and governance that reduces the true source of wisdom to a partial extraction of it that achieves a certain purpose. But many of us right now are subtly feeling something is changing, as this divine feminine source of wisdom is reawakening in many people around the world simultaneously. Many people are beginning to feel this dawning of realization internally without coming to this conclusion with their minds, because that's exactly how this divine feminine essence is spontaneously reawakened. You can feel this shift everywhere, in women who no longer tolerate silencing themselves, in men who are realizing that vulnerability is strength, not weakness, in younger generations who refuse to accept lives that feel hollow and are pursuing the soul's call for meaning, connection, and authenticity. It's also in the rising global awareness that the earth is not a resource to exploit, but a living system we belong to. This shift is highly disruptive, catalyzing breakdowns in systems, relationships, and identities, because it drags shadow to the surface, including the grief we never processed, the rage we buried, and the trauma we normalized. That catharsis is a prerequisite to change happening, as consciousness cannot evolve without first exposing what has been suppressed. So for instance, many people right now are, for some odd reason, experiencing past life trauma resurface into their field, feeling triggered by certain people, places, things, or situational conflicts that may not even be relevant at this time. However, they're feeling this so strongly because that part of them is still tied to a very real timeline in which that trauma is real, and it's something that's plaguing the entire collective experience. For instance, epics of suppression of feminine energy, feeling the fear of unlocking and honoring your spiritual gifts, fearing oppression when it comes down to speaking your truth and being completely translucent at the level of the soul. Aspects like this might be plaguing you because you think that if you were to adopt that integrated self, you would lose the powerful survival strategies that have been created because of these timelines upon timelines, creating contradictions that somehow keep the familiar identity intact. But what if right now we're called to actually go back to the beginning, to allow ourselves to understand why these paradoxes have been cultivated out of a desire to create safety and comfort and security? However, these are no longer the rules that can exist within the new paradigm. And to become really comfortable with ourselves, we need to become safe within the self and within the energy field at large. Unless you can understand why you fear what you fear, why you are angered by what invokes anger, why you are resisting still something that has brought you resistance in your past, you will not be able to clear these frozen aspects of yourself, because a frozen part of you is a timeline that hasn't been resolved, a part of your own energy field that is leaking into realities that no longer need to exist or even can exist, because as the Earth's frequency is ascending, the entire collective experience is feeling purged of all of these karmic remnants and programs that no longer can be part of this new paradigm. The rise of the feminine looks like emotional waves that can no longer be numbed. It looks like institutions collapsing because they were built on control instead of compassion. It looks like men realizing that the old model of masculinity is killing them from the inside. It looks like women remembering that their body, their arrows, and their wisdom are the very keys to renewal. This is the shift of our lifetime, and it's a real energetic change in how humans live and relate that we are all being called to support within and outside of us. The feminine is rising in all of us, in women, men, communities, and in Mother Earth herself. The feminine is just one half of the picture, not more powerful or more significant than the masculine counterpart, but very unique in its style and approach to breeding more expansion. In order to understand the divine feminine, we need not think or analyze this energy, because it actually can't be logically understood. The unfathomable aspect of the divine feminine is that in order to touch it and to assimilate its deep wisdom, we need to allow ourselves to become it by choosing to be a feeler and gracefully inviting in this divine feminine awareness, which permeates our ego and leads us closer to the source of the Divine Mother's truth. To understand the divine feminine, I encourage you to open your heart and allow even these words that I'm currently sharing to penetrate beneath the resistance, behind the logo-centered aspect of your mind's desire to comprehend everything through an evidence-backed experience. Because the divine feminine is something that cannot be proven. It is something that needs to be experienced through deep awareness that this polarity exists within your own soul, and only by allowing yourself to feel can you understand the wisdom that it holds. This rising frequency is asking us to integrate what we split apart and vow to live from wholeness rather than division. This is not about worshiping the feminine and discarding the masculine. It is about balance. Masculine structure aligned with feminine wisdom. Masculine action aligned with feminine intuition. Masculine clarity aligned with feminine empathy. Together, they create coherence. We're already engulfed in this pivotal time, and I'm sure you can already feel it in your own life, in the things you can no longer tolerate, the feelings you can no longer deny, and the deep pull to live differently. That is the feminine rising through you. This is not coming in the future. It is happening right now. For those who feel called to walk this path more deeply, I have created Divine Feminine Reclamation, a 4-week initiation into the body, mind, and spirit templates to allow for embodiment of the feminine principle and wisdom. It's not really a course, but a full-spectrum feminine wisdom school compressed into 4 weeks, a soul immersion that weaves psychology, shadow work, science, erotic intelligence, and ancient wisdom into one integrated path. Inside, you'll find 17 hours of original teaching and transmission, layered with visually rich journeys, integration practices, and resources that bring this awakening into your daily life. Every detail has been created to rewire how you inhabit your body, how you create, how you love, and how you live. This is not surface-level empowerment. You'll feel me guiding you to reactivate the feminine principle itself that is already alive in you, embodied through you, and rising in you. If you feel the pull, trust it. And so whenever you feel power is missing, or it's something outside of yourself that you aren't able to connect with, then you're the powerful vessel that needs to be reclaimed. Your relationship with you is what's being brought into question. And if you're hiding from life or from people or from any situations that you know are actually most powerfully aligned with your soul's purpose, then this is the moment of the reclamation. This is where you really look at your own source of power, eye to eye, and you assess a new way to constantly route this power through yourself, and into certain circumstances that demand it. And if that will change parts of your life, like cause the end of some connections, and allow for the revival of new attributes and new opportunities on the horizon, then what's actually happened is you've integrated the energy of your authentic self, and you've allowed that to create the proportional response that was always meant to be a part of your world. It's time to no longer shrink under the weight of our own truth, and to really sense that any time spent procrastinating on the embodiment of our power is time spent wasting our precious aliveness. And we're doing life an injustice if we're not allowing ourselves to sink into the depth of what we feel and know and can connect with in our deepest way of wisdom, in order to bring that through into this world that needs every one of us to be more present and more devoted to powerfully defending conscious values and the essence of the soul in the physical realm.